It's completely busy with this thing, and I'm glad that I have the time to do it, but there's also a lot of needs of other people getting involved. Paralegals, researchers, and people with statute experience will be needed in the next couple months. And then we're also always looking for a videographer for events and filming meetings. As I mentioned earlier tonight, if you email me, I can send you these items for you to look at. The flow chart for the petition, the standards for detachment, and the detach and incorporate. So those things are all outlined for us, and we'll be taking those things apart in the next couple months. I have, next week I start with presenting to the South Fork Community Council on the 3rd. I'll be meeting with Birchwood on the 9th and Shugiak on the 17th of February. On the 8th, we're going to post this schedule, by the way, on Facebook, so we'll get this out to you. It's also going to be in our newsletter if we get that out this month. But I'll make this available to you. But on the 8th of February, 1st of February, we have a business meeting, but after that business meeting, we're going to start to review charters. We've drafted a petition, and we have 3 drafts of 3 different charters done. There's holes in them. I'm not going to tell you they're perfect, but we're ready. We want input on those. We want you to see those and take a look and make some informed decisions on how we want to move forward with this. And so I'm going to do everything I can to provide you that opportunity to do it. Open public work sessions where you can come. Well, you know, on the 1st, we're going to talk charters some more, and probably on the 8th we will talk charters. But then it's time to get started with the petition. So that would be the 22nd of February, and then every Tuesday following that in March and April, we will be having public work sessions for the petition. On the 15th of February, and I'm asking for input on this. 15th of February, we have this room available again, and I am contemplating and I am sharing this, brainstorming the idea of having a We Love Our Community event here with some speakers, just inviting people in to once again introduce ourselves, let them know where we're at, and have some speakers talk about why we love our community. I don't know if you think that's a good idea, but I've been told that we need to start doing events. So that's an event the day after Valentine's Day. We love our community. So I'm going to send out some invites to folks to come and speak. If you feel like you'd like to share, please let me know if that's something that you feel passionate about. We have other resources that you can look at. Sandy Springs is a community that has done this. You can look that up on YouTube. I also have a copy of it when we're done. If you wanted to stick around and take a look at that, you can do that. But it's available on YouTube, and it's Sandy Springs, and they were a community that have been able to accomplish this. What else did I want to say tonight? So I guess the last thing I wanted to know is from you folks, what is it that you need to know more about? I get feedback from our newsletters and stuff, but what are those things that you want to know more about? Just off, Mr. Sadler.
Sean, thank you for the presentation. Thanks for being here. I've read through the phase 1 and phase 2 studies. There's real good information on the Eaglexit website and Facebook page. And I think the question I hear when I talk to people about this and ask their opinions is, well and good, we believe that Eagle River is special and should be separate, but what's it going to cost? And I've been going through the numbers. I've got some over-unders ideas, but that's a question people might have. What would it cost? What would we get in return for our money? Would we save money or spend more than what we have under the current arrangement?
Right. And that is absolutely always when my property's taxes go up and how much will it cost me? And you know what, folks, this local boundary commission process, if we make it through the process and we get a vote for positive and we have a 3-year transition period, that great divorce is just that, a splitting of cash, assets, and liabilities. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what that's going to come out to be, but I can tell you what our community values. I know what our community values efficiency, and they value local control. And if we're making those own decisions for ourselves, I would hope that those questions would come out. I've had questions, what would happen to our senior center? Once again, I don't have that crystal ball, but I know that our community values our senior centers and would support their senior centers to the best of our ability. We can talk about, the property, the income that we have, the revenues that we have, and compare it to what we pay, and I'm going to try to get more of those numbers forward for you, but once again, it's not my forte. Mr. Hickey?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement, not so much a question. 2019, all your property taxes, if you live in this community, have gone up 14%, and they're projected to go up another 5%, so it's not about what it's going to cost. Your property taxes are going up no matter what. So, just want to throw that out there.
I sometimes feel like, can we afford to stay? That's kind of I don't really try not to be too smart alecky about it, but really, can we afford to stay? Even Crystal Kennedy told us the other night that it's predicted to go up another 5% this year. So, can we afford to stay is I guess that. Any comments or people? Yes, ma'am.
From day one, I thought, can we possibly will we have the billions of dollars to own all of the road equipment? Oh, I love that road equipment. All the public facilities. And I'm very proud of Eagle River. We got a bunch of rocket scientists here. I love it. But the day I get 2 feet of snow out on the road and there's nobody to call, that's what worries me. The maintenance.
Yeah, we have a private partnership out here with McKenna to take care of our roads, and that partnership would just continue. So they would be the same great trucks and plows plowing your roads as there are now.
So would you say Wasilla, their taxes are at what? 1%?
I don't know off the top of my
Anybody?
head.
Their tax different out there.
What? Wasilla?
It's different, they have a sales tax out there, we don't.
Okay, so we have a sales tax.
They have sales.
They do, we do not.
Okay, but we will. We don't have to?
No, we don't have to.
We have to pay for maintenance.
We already paid for maintenance.
No, we're our own city, right?
Yeah, but our property taxes will pay what.
Okay, so our property tax is at, what the mill rate right now?
Yeah, our mill rate is a blended mill rate. So each tax district has its own mill rate. As an example, Eagle River, I think right now we're a little over 17 mills.
So I pay $4,900 a month, a year.
Right, but that's based on an assessment times the mill rate. What I'm trying to get to is, in 2019, our total property taxes paid to the municipality was about $57.5 million. In 2021, our total property taxes paid to the municipality was $65 million, a little bit more. The
So we're
point
giving
is,
them a little more.
yeah, I'll say it's 65 million, I'll round it up, okay? That's a 14.43% increase.
Why don't we just take that?
So the question becomes, what kind of government do you want? That's what this discussion is about. We currently have streets and roads. We currently have parks and recs. We currently have police. We have fire. You look at all those services and you decide, how do you want those delivered? And then from there, what cost do you want to pay, how much do you want to pay for it? Right now, we have comparisons from other cities on our website, what they're paying for services. Right now, we know what we're paying for services based on property tax income. Okay, so the question comes down, and this is the prime question. What do you want for services in your city? And that's really the question.
I want her streets plowed. This lady.
I'm sorry?
I want her streets plowed.
And they are being plowed right now. There's no reason why it won't be in the future.
Okay, I just want to note that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I personally think this is going to come down to ASD. If you look at the tax breakdown, if we could bring the ASD portion of our tax down, market, the other ones we could absorb a small hit up and still come out on the good side of this. If we figure out a way to make the school work, so we're not paying an arm and a leg for ASD. The rest of these services, we can actually get it raised, and we'll still come out money ahead.
Because we're paying 51% of our
It's
taxes are going to
phenomenal.
ASD.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
they're the highest ones on the.
To sit home and watch a damn Zoom video.
Well, if I could, kind of from the high level, I kind of hesitate to bring the dollars thing up first because that's the question I get asked. But I just want to say generally, the experiment, I think clearly that this turnout and the work that you guys have done and the response you've gotten shows that the big tent of the municipality is not working. You know, we all know intrinsically that Chugiak has different values, different culture, a different purpose for being here. We're smarter, better educated, we have better houses and so forth, we have more land. And as you said, the Constitution and our laws envision us in using more local government, going from the one big state to local government because the government's best, which governs least and closest to home. And so it's appropriate to be asking this question. And as you laid out, Sean, the LBC has a process. You can raise the question, you can do the petition, you can answer the questions. And I want to thank all the people involved with Eaglexit for asking these questions and following the rules and kicking this process off to ask the questions because the people should be deciding. It's our town, it's our way of life, we should decide. Now the important question is, can we pay for it? Do we want to pay for it? Can we get the snow plowing and the schools and the fire we need, fire protection? And the question is, how much does it cost? Are we willing to pay that? So it's not a done deal, it's not a decision today, but it's a process, and the more you do this, the more you educate, the better decision we can make. I applaud you guys for doing this, so I support going through with this and ask the question.
Good.
My thing is that we have a fire department, and they are all volunteers, and they are so good. I mean, I work at the senior center, and they come out there, and they've told me many times, if somebody falls, just give us a call, we'll pick them up, you know, and we don't have to take, they don't have to take them to the hospital or nothing. They're wonderful, wonderful people at that fire department. That's one. And then the only thing that I see that's really going to be kind of an issue are the police. Because we have to get the police either from Anchorage or wherever, or
What
make
is
up
the
our
opinion
own.
on that about police? Or would we have our own police department?
Yes.
Yeah, right now, at our police department here, our little police station down here, we have about 3 to 4 officers assigned per shift, per day. So you have 3 shifts per day. It usually works out to around 12 to 14 officers per day assigned to Eagle River. If you compare that with the rest of the municipality, they have 430 police officers currently employed by the APD. I mean, it is so heavily skewed, the police support and the numbers of the police to Anchorage, yet we still are paying for those police here in Eagle River and Chugiak. We don't have the problems that they have.
Yeah, that's always been a glaring number that's stared at a non-numbers guy, is how much we pay for public safety and what we get. Mike?
Fire's the same, as, you know, we talked about here, it's the same situation because of the wonderful service that's provided by the Chugiak Volunteer Fire Department. Our costs are way less, in certain areas, way less than the
And
rest
there's
of them.
nothing wrong with taking them out of retirement. I know a few of them that would love to come back to work. I know, seriously. They would love to just go ahead, you know, John, throw a few bucks. Yeah, I'd do it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's great. It's a great option for us, Mike.
Well, you know, I guess the hardest part for myself is wrapping my head around what is it going to cost. And I've been looking at this now for 3 years, pretty intensely. And it comes down to the very simple question of what does Eagle River and Chugiak and Clutha want for government? Because that's how it works. We determine what we want, and then from there we decide, you know, what's it going to cost? And that's based on us coming together and looking at it and properly analyzing it. I can tell you this, we have the lowest crime rate probably of any community in South Central. So what sort of a police department do we want? Right now, our fire department operates 70% of all services come out of our fire department for APD, as well as our volunteers, EMS. Okay, well, do we want to look at that in a different perspective? Right now, our school system is producing children at a rate of 60% below proficiency for English language arts and math. Well, do we want to change that? And that's at $20,000 per student per year. Do we want to look at that and change that? All we're doing here is providing an opportunity to create a discussion. Some people may say, I don't necessarily want to be involved in the discussion, and that's your right as an American. But at the same time, if you want to become involved with this discussion, this gentleman up here is the chair of Eaglexit, and I rely on him to do what he's doing right now from a public standpoint, and he's presenting to us, I think, things that we've always wanted to discuss and share with other people, but we've never really been able to homogenize it, bring it together as one idea.
And please, I champion him. You know, I mean, he's so I'm just.
Mike, can you give us, I'm sorry, Jim, I'll be right with you. Mike, can you give us the education numbers for Assembly District 2 right now? Square footage?
We have in Assembly District 2, 1.8 million square feet of school space. I don't know if you realize that. When the Anchorage School District came to you and said, we need to bond for Eagle River Elementary to repair that and for greening, because we need the space for school, for students, I don't think that was really a genuine approach to what the real challenge was. But that's my personal opinion. 1.8 million, we had less than 8,500 students in the entire K through 12 system. So when you look at the amount of classroom activity, that's over 11,000 students out of 1.8 million square feet of school space. Keep in mind that the majority of the school space is owned by the municipality of Anchorage. It is an asset. So I don't know how many people in this room have been divorced. I don't like using that word, but I will use it. Okay, you sit down with your soon-to-be ex-spouse and you very graciously discuss how you will split the assets. And you very graciously discuss how you will split the liabilities. There's nothing gracious about it if you've gone through it. But that's the point. We're going to look at this and we need you involved to say, hey, you know, that may be a good idea. That may not be a good idea. This is a public process. Once the petition goes into the local boundary commission, it's going to take 1.5 to 2 years of public hearing and discussion and all of that. And it may fly and it may not. But at least we have the opportunity to say for the first time since 1975 that we choose liberty. And that's your choice. That's the most wonderful thing about this place that we live in. Anyway, that's me.
For me, I've lived in Alaska for just over 8 years, and I've always lived in Eagle River. Raising a young family out here and recently moved to Chudiak. And for me, since this whole thing started, it was, you know, a lot of people, like Matt said, with taxes and stuff. For me, since I've lived here and I've only owned a house for 2 years, taxes have went up every year, and they're going to continue to go up because people are going to continue to spend in the government. And if my taxes will go up, fine. If we split, I'll know that my taxes are going to stay in my own backyard. It's going to serve my community. And I know with splitting that we won't be under a lot of the stuff that I'm sure quite a few people in Eagle River don't agree with what the municipality and the assembly has done for the stuff that's going on in Anchorage. And for me, if it means that, you know, the education gets better for my kids, my taxes go up, and they stay in my own backyard, and they benefit my life and everybody else around me in my community, which I love out here because of, you know, the low crime rate and just the helpfulness of everybody in the community to help and to make sure that everybody is, you know, taken care of.
Yeah.
To me, and I'm fairly young, but to me, you know, it's worth it to me. And I've always told myself and my wife and my family, I'll continue to live in Alaska for as long as I can afford it. And as long as I can continue to work and being a small business operator, it's, you know, I love it. It's great. And I don't want it to get more. And I think, you know, with the numbers and with what everybody said, that there's a possibility that the taxes won't go up because, like you said, we won't have as high as rates because the stuff like the fire and the police and all those things won't be as much as as Anchorage pays because we don't have as much. We don't need everything that Anchorage has because we just simply don't have it.
Thanks. Yeah, I have to say, if I'm gonna be taxed, I'd rather tax myself.
Yeah.
Matt?
You want me to talk about some quick numbers, what our budget is right now for operating costs? Just, I think people want to hear this perspective,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
important. So we got about $65 million coming out just for operating costs, has nothing to do with the school budget, okay? The mill rate for school, that's all fed in the state, and some mill rate. So we got about $65 million. Right now, we're being charged $12,700,000 for police, that's our budget. Where our budget for fire is $6.5 million. Our parks and rec is $3.5 million. Our road maintenance and snow removal is $7.5 million. So we got about $30 million here, if anybody can add that up, right? I want to know where the other $30 million is going. And on top of it, the $12.7 million that we're being charged for cops, that's over $1 million per cop, based on Anchorage rate per their 400 cops. It comes out to about $260,000 a cop or something like that, real close. So I had a meeting with the police chief out in Wasilla a couple years ago, and if we want to contract with them, have our own police force, they'll do it. We can use their 911 center, and they'll charge us about $280,000 a cop. It'll be about $3 million budget. This is just an example. I'm not saying we're going to do that. That's just an idea, right? We can use the state troopers if we want to, contract with them. We're being overcharged. These are real simple numbers that I just read it off to you guys. Yes, it's going to cost more to run a city. I got what's for mayor, assembly members, what, 5 million? Maybe, if that. We already have, we're going to have all the real estate. We're going to have, as far as we're concerned, we're going to have 17% of all the assets and liabilities, right? We think the assets way outweigh the liabilities. So, to me, it's a real simple numbers game. But it's not that simple. That's layman terms, right? So it's going to get more complicated than that, and just kind of do an oversight, make it kind of layman terms. I don't know if I know what that means, layman terms.
Thanks, man.
Sean?
I'd like to follow that up with something you said. You know, it's going to take our whole community. There's some people that are perfectly happy the way things are, and how do we pull them into this conversation? You know, this is, for me, this is nonpartisan. This is about us taking care of ourselves, and so I just like to reiterate that. Joe?
Yeah, the last night the road board we established our mill rates into 1.9, which is where we've been for the last several years. And one of the things that we looked at, if the road board, Subursa, was on standalone again, we wouldn't be paying for the overhead that we have to pay for right now in the municipality. And Subursa is one of the organizations that can receive contracts directly from the state. But right now, whenever we get funding, they push the funding directly in the municipality, and then the municipality siphons off pieces as they go, and then we kind of get whatever's left over. So by the time it's done, we typically lose about 10 to 15% of the bond money that we get for projects. So if we were doing it, if we were a standalone city, we'd be in a separate situation. It would be cheaper.
I'm doing this off of memory, so if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me. We have this thing called AMATs. I don't know if some of you are aware of it, okay? It's, I believe it's federal money for projects within South Central. Right now, the scoring system for AMATs is really interesting because for a similar project in Anchorage, there's so many points, and those points go to 100, okay? For the same project in Eagle River, you get a 15-point deduction. So that means you've got to do 115 points to have the same, there are no 150 points, it's only 100. You've got to do 115 points to be able to bring that project into Eagle River. Therefore, we don't see that money because we are typically outvoted. That's my understanding. And if anybody's better aware of that than I am, let me know. But that's one example of what I would consider misrepresentation, okay? So when you consider the point that maybe we're the redheaded stepchild, and I don't mean that as derogatory, but when you start looking at what's going on, as an example, look at the last Tuesday assembly meeting where Crystal Kennedy and Janie Allard did their best to present, different ideas and contributions for the community. And the other 9 members basically said, we don't want you, we don't want to know you, and so on. And if I'm off, correct me. But that's my understanding of what happened. And to me, that's like, okay, well, we can be adults too. Let's go ahead, put our own act together, present it to the LBC, make it fly. It's that simple, but we need you, okay? We meet every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Public is always invited. We've got a little limited space, but I'd love to see the whole place packed and everybody just yelling at each other going, we want to do this, we want to do that, because that's how you get those ideas started. So don't be shy.
I have a question. What's hard is getting the information out. And, if I went down to Jitters, or I went to Cars or Safeway or Fred Meyer's, there really isn't any information about this.
So come join us and help us spread the information.
Well, I just don't have a printing machine.
It's up to you.
But I mean, yes, that's why we're here.
That's a rude, I gotta tell you, I came to Anchorage 30 years ago to work for Bob Atwood at the Anchorage Times. And the playbook that he ran for Alaska statehood was ask everybody, what do you think about statehood? What do you think about statehood? Should we be a state? Are you trying to get screwed by the feds? And that's what you need to do, is ask that question in the public airwaves in the forum. I hear friends here on talk radio. I see letters to the editor. I see op-eds. Make that part of the public discussion. Ask the question. Ask it again. You got to get people thinking about it, and the answer will be clear in time as these guys do the good job of presenting things. And one more point I want to make too is this: we're not at a decision point right now. It's a process of education, answering people's legitimate questions. But it's a matter of educating, getting the word out, asking the question over again, getting more word out, getting people involved, getting money flowing, to the point people can make an informed decision. The law says we're allowed to do this. The Constitution says we should do it. So you're getting at it. Good for us.
Yeah.
One of the things I think might be good if you or Paul mentioned what the charters, the prototype charters look like right now, so that people can start thinking about that, because that is how we're going to manage our town. Those charters are going to say, what kind of government do you want to have? You want it to look just like Anchorage? Well, there's a charter for that. If you want it to be where the community councils are involved, there's a charter for that. If you want it to be a full town hall approach, there's a charter for that. What do we, the collective we, want?
Do you envision a borough or a first-class city, second-class city? Have you got, does the LBC process determine that?
Yeah, we have to determine that before we go into that. So that's one we want to start talking about. And your idea of sharing it with everybody, do you believe in our own independence or our new borough, is having a name contest. What would you name our new borough? That's just one idea. Yes, ma'am.
I would say more, what is it going to cost us if we don't do this? We're losing our voice. I went to the assembly meeting and it was horrible. They just want our money and they don't want our voice. And so if we want influence over our children, over our whatever, hospitals, because we're going to have to change some things in healthcare, the way things are going. So there's a much bigger cost that we're going to have to pay. Might not be in dollars and cents, but we will pay a big toll if we don't get moving on this. So I hope that we can. So thank you.
One thing too that I think would help in approaching the public on this, because this is the single biggest sticking point that I've encountered in talking about this with people over the last couple of years, is most of the people I've talked to anyway seem to think that this is some unique, novel, never been done before experiment. Well, I'm sure, I don't know the history of secessions, similar municipal secessions in the United States, but I'm sure there must be plenty. And if we could throw out examples or explain, in the last 10 years, 300, municipalities have separated in the U.S. successfully. That would go a long way towards instilling confidence in people in the process here.
Yeah, Sandy Hook is a good example. of one
Sandy,
of the
Sandy
accomplishments.
Springs. Not Sandy Hook, Sandy Springs.
No, the shooting there.
Not the shooting.
But, well, you've probably heard of Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. Buckhead is a community that's running with Atlanta to leave. And so they've actually reached out to us, and some of the people that have talked to us over the last couple of years are talking with them. So this is something that we're starting to see, you know, in these large municipalities and metropolitans.
Sean, there are numerous cities that have done this out in the United States, and they have they have their charters and everything. The framework has already been created, and we've got some of those we can follow as a framework in sculpting our own charters here.
Well, the one in Georgia.
Yeah, that's exactly, Sandy Springs.
Just from a brevity standpoint.
Exactly.
The Alaska State Constitution is the most pliable document I have ever seen in terms of being able to form a municipal entity. Title 29 kind of gives you the sidebar, so to speak, that can find you. But literally speaking, we can develop just about any municipal entity that we choose. So it's really a question of not just creativity, but also looking at what's happened over the past, as an example, 50 years in Alaska, and saying to ourselves, okay, well, we like that idea, but we don't really like that idea, and start aggregating that, so we start putting them into, you know, separate little boxes so that we can start evaluating them, and before you know it, you've got a municipal entity. And that's really what we're attempting to do right here. Paul and his wife Kim have done an incredible job of putting together 3 choices: vanilla, chocolate, and spumoni. Okay, I'm Italian, so I like spumoni. Okay, but my point is that you can take those and look at it and say, well, you know, I like that idea, but I don't like that. You know, and you can start working it, and maybe, you know, it's like a deck of cards. You take the cards, you shuffle them together, and all of a sudden now you've got a full deck. And that's how we're approaching it. So this is an education process. We're here to hopefully provide people an opportunity in civics that they may have never had or maybe have forgotten. And now we're being reminded and say, hey, yeah, I remember that. That's a great idea, or that's a bad idea.
Charter is mind-boggling. Thomas Jefferson managed to do it. George Mason, and they had a little bit of help, and they copied a little bit. Okay, so relax. There's got to be a charter out there that we might like, pieces and parts, but where do we start finding them? Do we each come with our own charter sample and read it off and act like Parliament? No. So,
well, let's work through that. I have a schedule for the next couple of months of some public work sessions. So let's work through that. Let's see what it looks like. And we have examples to present. So one more in the back.
Question. I don't do this for myself, for my business, but I know it's been really pretty good for business. But I didn't know if it was something that, if we had somebody that could do videography and put together short, like 30 or 60-second videos, and I don't know if you can put those on Facebook as like ads and pump those out there.
We're making one right now.
Yeah, because I have like 2 or 3 ads that run monthly, and I spend a very minimum on it, and a lot of people see it, just so people can see the different aspects of a lot of the things that we're talking about that are short, and to get people to see.
I'm really trying to stick to the petition, but you're exactly right, and we do have it. We're really close to having our videos and commercials made, and we have 3 different media outlets that we're going to work with. So hopefully you'll start seeing some things out there in the air and on social media.
And just doing it in the Eagle River area, so you're not paying to educate those.
No, those groups, no, we've already been talking with them. So folks, I really want to thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate your input. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Email me if you want those handouts. I'll send those to you. And if you want to stick around and have any more conversations, please feel free to. But I truly appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in today. Do not forget to like and share. Go to the website politadick.com. All proceeds go right back into being able to make sure that we can live stream to all of you using our restream packages to be able to hit multi-channels at one time. Because a very, very poor internet connection, one of the softwares that I was using completely crashed. I had to go directly to the service to get this stream out, which is why we were on a fixed camera. But at least the sound quality was good and we got to hear everything they had to say. I will see what I can do about uploading the first 20 minutes of what was said here today. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, like and share.